Time of year, Halloween is upon us, and a show that has real Halloween sort of topics every week. And you should know about this. It's on at Saturday, every Saturday here on WBSM from 10 to 11. The host, Tim Weisberg, is joining us. And what a big weekend for you, Tim.
Oh, yeah, this is like Christmas for us.
I guess it would be. And, you know, I've listened from time to time, and it's never boring. I had an idea of when I heard the title of the show. I was like, they're going to talk about local properties that may or may not be haunted. It is really, I think it's capable of a national show. I really do.
Well, thank you. Yeah, we try to model ourselves after, going all the way back to the days of Long John Nebel and a lot of these overnight talk shows that, would bring you alternative viewpoints and just stuff that they wouldn't talk about on the radio the rest of the time.
Do you get afraid of some of the callers in particular?
Actually, a lot of our callers we've come to know as friends, and they've come out to some of our events that we've done around the SouthCoast area, and we've gotten to know quite a bit of them. And there's probably still a few of them that maybe I don't want to meet in person sometime, but
like me,
for the most part, yeah,
that happens here on the show. So I would imagine because it's such a rare venue that you're attracting a lot of people streaming online.
Oh, absolutely, yeah. We have listeners all over the world, and we do the podcasting, too. And I have to say, pretty much from the first episode that we ever did, almost 4 years ago, we had people that were calling us from Australia, emailing us from Germany, Japan, so it's become kind of a worldwide thing.
I bet so. I bet that's true. So listen, what's coming up this weekend?
Well, this weekend we're going to be telling some spooky ghost stories. It's the first chance we've ever had to be on Halloween night. And normally the Red Sox bump us off anyway this time of year, but we're going to be telling some chilling stories and kind of making sure that people don't go to sleep on Saturday night.
Oh, boy. Now, I remember I told you one time because I myself was witness to something of a phenomenon, and it turned out to be a pre-planned rocket launch. But I was thinking, I don't know if I saw a UFO. To me, it's a UFO. It was an unidentified flying object and really strange lights in the skies, but it was explainable. But a lot of the things you talk about are not explainable to today's science. And it's amazing that there really is a science into some of these paranormal activities.
Oh, sure. I mean, the days are long past where it was just a psychic walking into a room and saying that they have a feeling. I mean, that's still used to this day, but now we have scientific equipment that we can kind of use to document what it is the psychic is saying through temperature changes and energy fluctuations.
Some of these psychics crack me up. I mean, I believe, because of, reading how they've actually brought people to dead bodies in the woods where they couldn't possibly have known that. So, I mean, some of that's truly remarkable. But I love I feel a presence. Is his name Mike? No, it's Ralph. I knew there was a vowel.
Yeah.
And for $47, I can tell you what he wants to.
That's what we call cold reading. We try to avoid. We have psychics on the show from time to time. We don't like to do it a whole lot, even though the callers love it. It's for those who are listening later on podcasts or something, it kind of makes for boring listening. But a lot of the psychics that we have, we make sure ahead of time that they're not cold readers and that they're actually coming into this with some sort of untapped sixth sense.
Now, Tim, have you actually gone out to any of these ghost readings?
Oh yeah,
You have.
Oh sure.
Yeah, any ones that you're convinced there might have been something going on?
Oh, the Lizzie Borden Bed and Breakfast is the most haunted place maybe in the world.
You're kidding me?
Oh no, it's crazy there. I've had numerous experiences where I've been thrown against the wall and choked, pushed downstairs, sworn at on tape and growled at out of thin air. And most recently, we saw a shadow person down in the basement, which is it's a little different than a ghost, but it's still pretty spooky nonetheless.
It's like a trapped soul or something?
We're not exactly sure what's going on there. My pet theory is that there's some sort of negative energy attached to that location that predates the Borden murders, and it kind of used those murders as a way to keep feeding itself on negative energy. So
you are convinced that once the human vehicle expires, the energy does go somewhere?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, I'm not sure that a ghost is a soul per se, but it's definitely the leftover energy, because the first law of thermodynamics tells us that energy cannot be created or destroyed, only changed. And when we go, the energy that's within us has to go somewhere.
No, I believe that. I believe more specifically than that, but that doesn't mean anybody else has to. Let me ask you this. As a guy who doesn't scare easily, give me Tim Weisberg's top 5 scariest movies folks should rent this weekend if they wanted to really take in a good Halloween.
Well, absolutely. The scariest movie I've ever seen personally is The Exorcist. Demonic possession is one thing I don't want to mess with. I have yet to, and I'm going to try to avoid it as best I can. Any film that has terrifying alien encounters, such as Fire in the Sky or Communion, those freak me out because aliens are another thing that I'm afraid of. And I can tell you that the original Amityville Horror is a classic. And if you're into the whole, going into a theater with a group of people and jumping out of your seat, Paranormal Activity is getting a lot of buzz. Personally, it didn't scare me very much, but I've seen a lot worse activities.
Well, for $19,000, it must be extremely creative. I mean, it's boy, if you can make a movie for $19,000 and come out with what they're going to come out with.
I saw on the internet yesterday. It's now become the most successful film of all time in terms of how much it's grossed compared to how much it costs.
That's like the Van Halen Jump video. They spent more on beer than they did on the film. Let me match up my 5. You tell me where I'm wrong here. Now, I thought Halloween 1, the first time I saw it, affected me as much as anything. Mm-hmm. Number 2, Exorcist.
Yep.
Number 3, Jaws.
Yeah, I don't usually think of that as a horror movie, but yeah, no, definitely.
Jaws, you kidding me? I was checking my swimming pool for 2 years. Number 3, and number 4, you might laugh at me because the second one was so horrible, unfortunately, but I thought Exorcist 3 was outstanding.
Yeah, it certainly was pretty good. I'm actually a fan of the latest one that came out, the prequel, not the theatrical cut, but the one that the studio didn't release. I got a chance to see that later on. That was actually a far superior movie, maybe even to Exorcist 3.
Are we talking the one it took place in Africa?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was good. That actually was good. But what they were trying to portray in Exorcist 3 was so creepy in that hospital. All right, and then 5, I thought Aliens, the sequel to Alien, I thought that was an unbelievable jump out of your seat kind of movie.
And luckily for me, I mean, I don't get too scared by those kinds of aliens because, they're not here on Earth kidnapping people in their sleep.
Are you convinced that there are extraterrestrials that are monitoring us and doing even maybe more?
At first, I wasn't really completely sure, but through the people that we've talked to on the show, I've kind of become convinced that their efforts are not in vain, that there's definitely something going on that we're not being privy to.
So you've got that sort of thing going on. So you have really convincing guests that come on. You have experts that come on. If you could, in 2 minutes or less, just tell me if you could describe Spooky South Coast, put it in a time capsule, just a small sampling. What would you write?
Well, I'd tell you that if it's something that you want to know about but you're afraid to ask, that's the kind of thing that we're going to talk about. We don't take ourselves too seriously, but we definitely take the subject matter seriously, and I think that convinces people that maybe there is something to what we're talking about. And we're not afraid to call out a guest if they're saying something that we don't really necessarily think is based in any kind of science, or if they're kind of coming out of left field. We're not afraid to call them out. A lot of shows that talk about the subject matter will just let the guests go on, but we hold people accountable. Which,
if you kind of have that, I don't want to say Beavis and Butthead sort of cackling in the background when they're talking about something is ridiculous. That's got to be pretty good radio. I mean, for my own sadistic reasons, I like when the host kind of with the audience is sort of like, what's this guy saying?
Well, I mean, part of that, too, is we look at ourselves as journalists as well as talk show hosts. I mean, we're trying to get this information out there to the people, and we want to make sure it's accurately portrayed and that, they're not going to listen to the show and say, well, these guys are nuts and they have crazy guests on, and I'm not going to put any credence in what they say.
Fascinating stuff. 10 o'clock to 11 o'clock right here on 1420 WBSM, just about every Saturday, right?
Oh, yeah, and as long as the Red Sox don't bump us off, we're there.
Well, you know what? You don't have to worry about that for a while.
Yeah, we're good. This is our glory time right now.
Go Phillies. You like the Pats next week?
Oh, definitely.
Yeah, I think they're gonna. I think they've hit their stride finally. I know that they played the crap of the league, but I
know Pete won't be happy, but
the Dolphins
will be. Yeah.
All right. Any big upsets this weekend I should go with?
Gee, I don't know. I haven't really even given it much thought. When it's the Pats bye week, I kind of just ignore the NFL for a week.
I think a lot of people do that. Tim, and I'm pretty sure we're going to read about you guys getting syndicated at some point. It's such a great show. It's such a unique show, and you guys do a great job. Luck to you. I know you don't need that much luck. You're doing a great job, you and your partner. And I forget his name.
We have two, Matt Costa and Matt Moniz.
Yeah, I knew there were. That's right. I should have known there were two Nats. Very
one
good.
Talks and one never does. So.
But he's there. You just can't prove it.
We call him the silent assassin.
All right. Hey, listen, I'm going to be listening on Saturday like most of the other people that are hearing us right now.
Well, thank you very much, and thanks for the kind words and all the support.
Thanks, Tim. Okay.